I think as kids, we've all been scared by something that wasn't inherently scary. It could be something simple like the animatronics at Chuck E. Cheese.
I'm 87!
Or maybe a weird cartoon character. Or even something simple like a closet or basement. When something that's meant to be either practical or enjoyable is suddenly corrupted within the mind of a kid is such an interesting phenomenon to me. Because every story is so different, yet similar, and we can all look back and have a good laugh. For me personally, it was playing Minecraft and being scared that Herobrine or Notch was gonna come through the screen and attack me. Listen, I never said it was reasonable. But across all the stories of being scared by something that's meant to entertain you, there's one familiar theme. That being a sense of abnormality or unnatural nature of what you're dealing with. Almost like it's an imposter or facade that's trying to trick you into getting comfortable, all the meanwhile holding a deadly secret just waiting to strike. So with that in mind, it only makes sense that one of the most iconic characters in games of all time, Mario 64, would be the face of a new wave of internet horror stories that would go on to inspire the likes of the Mandela catalog in the Server Blight series. Mario is the most recognizable video game character of all time. His popularity has only compounded over the decades that he's been around, going from 2D to 3D, kicking it with rabbits, making the best driving game and worst party game of all time, even transcending gaming by having multiple Hollywood productions and his own theme park. Being one of Nintendo's most profitable franchises, they have done their absolute best to maintain this pristine reputation, suing the absolute life out of anyone who dares threaten the family-friendly image of their beloved Italian plumber, who's also voiced by Chris Pratt.
It's a Mario. That's not the voice.
And because of the extreme lengths that Nintendo goes to maintain this image of Mario, it makes sense that people would naturally begin to question this status. Whether intentionally or not, when something is framed as perfectly wholesome for decades, our imaginations start to add shadows. Some people might look for cracks in Nintendo's marketing, or others it might just come naturally out of curiosity. But nonetheless, it was only a matter of time until Mario was fully corrupted. Listen, now I know that sounds a little crazy, but stick with me here. A couple of weeks ago, I was reminiscing on the pandemic and what life was like back then, when I randomly remembered the whole every copy of Mario 64 is personalized trend. And so, feeling nostalgic, I went back and watched some of those videos and holy shit! I did not realize the levels there were to this. Like, there's dedicated wikis to this stuff. Icebergs and hour-long videos breaking everything down. And the further I went down the rabbit hole, the more extreme it got. Multiple community builds and mods, and connections to other internet phenomena and trends. It's crazy how influential what was essentially a spooky shitpost was. So many people contributed in the making of the legend that was the internet sensation of every copy of Mario 64 is personalized. So with that in mind, come with me down memory lane as we look at the mysteries of Mario 64 and how it revived the modern internet ARG. It's Ikoi here and welcome to the pond, because we're diving deep. So before we jump into the deep end, let's just start with a baseline of what this actually is. Mario 64. I'm not going to explain Mario 64 to you. What's important to note is because this game was so iconic and accessible, being made for kids is what I mean. Shit, if you want to play this game today, you either gotta own an N64, shill out $100 for a copy on the Switch, or sail the dire docks, matey. It makes sense that this game would be the basis for a collective horror experience, because it was so integral to the childhoods of so many people, actively playing into the psyche of so many people who I'm sure got scared by something in the game as a kid, or just the simple perversion of such an innocent character in game. I mean, this is Mario. Even my mom knows him, making this game the perfect candidate to be the setting for a new age of lost media, or Mandela effects, or internet horror, however you want to label it. It inherently draws upon the connections of childhood and purity, and turns those feelings into melancholy and fear, as you wonder if what you experienced was the same as everyone else. So with that in mind, what am I talking about? The personalization of Mario 64 refers to the theory that each individual copy of Mario 64 was programmed with an AI that actively changes and adapts to the player in different ways to adhere to their desires, playstyle, and skill. Meaning each playthrough of the game is slightly different to each person, and this was only discovered through the popularization of emulators. Now having one shared copy of the game, people from across the world begun reporting variations and differences from what they remembered playing. It all started with this iceberg posted to
Reddit.
It shows a list of various Mario 64 mysteries and secrets, with a few jokes thrown in there. Some of them are real though, like Ella's real, which was the theory that Luigi was actually in the game as a playable character. Another one, oddly enough, was parallel realities, which is a very complex speedrun topic, but to simplify, it means Mario can exist on multiple versions of the same level at once, which allows for some shenanigans. But the most important one for this video is the 1995 build, the Wario apparition, and every copy of Mario 64 is personalized, which served as the catalyst for this whole thing. The Wario apparition refers to this image. It depicts Wario's head hovering in the air, particularly in front of the Dire Dire Docks level. Talking to Mario, he utters the phrase,
"You think this is fun? You gotta be cuckoo crazy. You want fun? Wario show you fun."
Originating from a 1996 E3 promotional event, this video brought some false legitimacy to this iceberg and helped further popularize the theory. Referred to as the Wario apparition, he became the face of the personalization meme. People began to spread this thing like a wildfire, contributing their own experiences playing the game and the differences they experienced from copy to copy. Suddenly, it was like a whole conspiracy had just been uncovered and was becoming widespread in the gaming community, with everyone talking about it and making videos. Not to mention, the crazy amount of people who immediately got to work to make this thing legitimate, such as with this image, or the development of full mods and animations, videos that look like they were filmed on a butt plug, and much more talented people making this mystery all the more real. Now, while most people obviously knew that this was a joke, it represented a moment in time where a huge collective of gamers came together to make something greater than the sum of its parts. And that's special in my opinion.
But holy hell, did this thing get out of hand?
I mean, upon googling this thing, I found the MIPS wiki, which was dedicated to documenting the various theories and mysteries spawning out of just Mario 64 alone, which led me to find that there are more layers to this, like the Bowser Room.
You want to know what Gassy Bowser sounds like?
No.
The Bowser Room is another anomaly found on the iceberg. It depicts a white and featureless room, except for one major thing, that being a photo of Bowser hanging in the middle of the wall, doing nothing but staring at Mario. This is another anomaly that demonstrates how personal the theory truly is. There are multiple differing accounts of both the description of the room and its purpose, with some cases containing playable levels, while in others it reported to have no function. There are also differing video accounts that display this as well. All showing different renders of the room, this only contributes to how each copy is designed with only one player in mind. I love this premise because it lends so much to your imagination. Technically, all interpretations and builds are correct within the personalization theory, meaning that people aren't confined to exploring only one aspect of horror. Another aspect of set dressing that arises was that of the 1995 build. This thing is dangerous. Every time it's mentioned, it is repeatedly advised that you do not investigate, as it could lead to insanity, death, or possibly worse. So with that in mind, what was it? Basically, the very early July 1995 build was a low-quality prototype made by a few devs at Nintendo Japan. What was so eerie about this build, however, was the glitches that caused the textures to rapidly change colors, inducing seizures in players exposed to it. In addition to that, it served as a testing for the personalization AI, with reports of devs getting stuck playing it for hours, as the basement was described as a nearly endless labyrinth. It also has many connections to the Paul Brias machine, with some theories even believing that the Paul Brias was a cover-up for the 1995 build. Just another great example of how this meme both played off real-life events and myths, while still innovating on them for a new age of fans. And the scariest of all? The Old Spice apparition!
Ugh.
There were so many conflicting reports and ideas about what was really going on that there are multiple canons to the personalization effect, along with different sub-theories within these canons. It's truly insane, but also super cool that so many people work together to make this thing and actually maintain it. not to mention all the artwork, mods, and fan games, and of course, the memes, which are their own art form. Theories range from as complex as Nintendo trying to make its own personal AI to as simple as,
I think your cartridge's broken.
I mean, even though everyone knew it was fake, it was still fun to join in on the joke for those who knew, to troll those who didn't. It was very similar to the anti-piracy videos. What originally started off as a kind of horror concept about creepy things happening to your pirated version of a game, things like killing characters, corrupting save files, or unsettling imagery, all quickly exploded and evolved into shitposting and memes, which, to be fair, were hilarious. The Wario apparition and personalization of Mario 64 revived the idea of a modern urban legend, and that's something I feel has been lost in recent years. This sense of community and fun, just for the sake of it. As this comment put it, you know what? Fuck it. Let's pretend for the sake of feeling that way again. So that transitions into what I want to talk about, which is the lost art of video game urban legends. There was a time where these things were much more prevalent and also a lot more creative. Some myths were tied to in-game events, like Bigfoot in GTA San Andreas, Mew under the truck, or Herobrine. While some myths surrounded the games themselves, like the Polybrius scandal, in which it was accused that this mysterious arcade game would induce vivid dreams and sometimes suicide, or that Mortal Kombat would suddenly make you a violent lunatic, or that if you blew on your disc, the game would actually work. Whether it was based in truth or pure fiction, things like Sonic EXE, Ben Drowned, the Lavender Town music, or the countless FNAF hoaxes, there was a level of passion and creativity behind them. But nowadays, it feels like the sense of community in gaming is being lost, and with them, urban legends and myths that simply existed for the sake of it. And while some may immediately jump to the fact that the internet exists now, so you could just Google if something's true or not, I would actually disagree with that point. Because the internet is so vast, it's just as easy to spread misinformation too. I mean, people are being tricked into eating raw liver. It's not crazy to assume that they'll believe anything at this point. And people still fall for this type of stuff in modern day. There was a crazy surge in GTA leaked videos back in 2017, which was just GTA 5 with shaders on, and people still believed it. And now it's morphed into fake leaks and screenshots from games. What I believe killed internet hoaxes and horror stories at large is A, the tools people have access to now and how they're constantly leaking stuff, and B, the current miserable state of gaming. Let me explain. With the very talented coders who exist nowadays, it's super easy for them to just rip into game files and figure out everything in a day of a game's release. Meaning that by the time most people play through it once, they're already looking at the netcode trying to break it.
And while this is great for things like speedrunning, it's also like, chill out dude, let the game just exist before we go all crazy.
Things like Bigfoot or Luigi in Mario 64 couldn't work today because the hackers would just see if they're in the files. But that's not the only issue facing hoaxes. See, now because of things like TikTok, nobody can just wait for something to release. We see it constantly as people either attempt to or successfully leak info or footage of games. It happened with Naughty Dog in The Last of Us 2. People leaked the Minecraft movie, and even Half-Life 2 got leaked back in the day. And most recently, the leak of Leon in Resident Evil 9. Today, it's so much harder for companies to keep information concealed because of data miners and leakers. I mean, there are whole communities online like Gaming Leaks and Rumours and r/Fortnite Leaks, which are dedicated to this stuff. We've even seen people harass Rockstar employees about GTA 6, and this behavior is lame to me. While yes, the rumors and false leaks of the past were goofy and corny in retrospect, this is so much worse because it removes all the fun from everything. It's like if you told a kid before Christmas all the gifts he's gonna get and when they're gonna break. Like, let's just have some fun, please? Which brings me to my next point, which is, the state of modern video gaming is just so deprived of joy, and it feels like everyone is just miserable about everything. Something that I think we can all agree on is that everyone is so much more volatile online now. Where it used to be Xbox versus PlayStation, and that was mainly it, now it's devolved into the games as well. People argue about everything, like Expedition 33 winning Game of the Year, or people complaining about friend slop and whether X franchise is better than Y. The divide that exists amongst players is representative of a larger systemic issue, which is how polarizing and volatile the world is becoming. I mean, open any social media app and it's just the most horrific and depressing stuff. So if offline people are getting miserable and angry, it only tracks that online they're gonna do the same. When tensions are high, it makes it extremely difficult for innocent and silly ideas to thrive, which makes things like the personalization of Mario 64 all the more cool in my opinion. In the height of a global pandemic, people were able to come together and join in on a joke, which shows that we can get through this if we just have a little fun.
Now, while this entire time I've been all doom and gloom about the state of modern horror, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. In fact, I actually believe that we're in a slight revival of internet horror and hoaxes. Don't believe me?
In the 2020s, we've seen the explosion of a few internet horror phenomena which directly draw on the same fears and concepts of Mario 64. For example, Duck Season, Petscup, Server Blight, or the MyHouse.wave mod for Doom. These are all properties that use the motif of the perversion of innocence similarly to the Wario apparition. Duck Season and Petscup are both explicit examples of a haunted game. Both use jump scares and traditional storytelling techniques alongside horror elements to craft their narratives. While on the other hand, My House managed to tell a whole narrative almost entirely through imagery, context, and level design on a game that's over 20 years old, pushing the technology to its absolute limits. Even properties like the Mandela Catalog sparked a whole new age of internet horror, inspiring so many creatives and people to come together to form in-jokes and their own terminology and icebergs of respective franchises. Server Blight. Server Blight is a YouTube horror series made by two idiot Germans.
That's their name, I swear.
It is heavily inspired by John Carpenter's film The Thing, in which it depicts an entity slowly infesting the servers of Team Fortress 2, impersonating and consuming players as it attempts to spread. It takes the goofy and comforting setting of TF2 and contorts it into being a techno-horror nightmare, making it so that you question every server you enter, which you might do for other reasons as well. It too has also gotten so popular that it has its own wiki and videos about it, yet again showing the power of creativity. There still exists a creative community of people who are writing and making up bullshit with regards to their favorite games. It's just they're getting drowned out by all the noise surrounding them, which makes it all the more important that we keep inspiring people to make stuff based on what they like. For me personally, I love the discourse around From Software games, especially when Elden Ring and its DLC was coming out. I remember everyone online speculating, going frame by frame through the trailers, trying to figure out what was going on. And now, I look forward to the next God of War game. But importantly, I didn't and don't want to know everything about it before it comes out. We should let games and movies exist and not try to know everything.
Because not knowing and looking like an idiot when you believe that this is how you put in a PS4 disc, it's what life is all about, ain't it? What do I really know? Thanks for stopping by the pond. It's your Koi here, and I'm out.